Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. Have you ever had a morning where your body got out of bed, but your brain was still half asleep? Like it forgot to wake up with you? You stare at your coffee, keys, or newspaper and think, wait, what was I about to do? You know you got plenty of sleep, and yet the fog is there. That slow, dragging feeling. That frustrating, where did I put my glasses? Moment. Even when they're on your head. If this sounds familiar, you are not alone. After 60, the body doesn't just change. The brain does too. It gets a little slower to warm up in the morning, a little less sharp, and sometimes you feel like your thoughts are 2 steps behind your feet. But what if I told you there are simple, natural ways to help your brain wake up with you? To lift the fog, sharpen your focus, and give your mornings a kind of clarity that makes everything easier, from remembering appointments to finding your words in conversation. No pills, no fancy equipment, just 3 gentle, healthy drinks right from your kitchen that support brain health naturally. And today, we're going to explore the first one. It's a drink most people know, most people love, but when done right, it becomes a brain-boosting ritual that does so much more than just wake you up. Jake, 72, used to be the kind of guy who couldn't start his morning without coffee. I didn't just drink it, he laughed. I relied on it like an old friend. But over the past few years, he noticed something had changed. His usual cup didn't hit the same way. Instead of feeling energized, he felt jittery. His heart raced, his stomach turned sour, and his brain still stuck in neutral until almost noon. One morning, sitting at his local cafe, Jake overheard a woman at the next table talking about how she added coconut oil and cinnamon to her coffee. It sounded strange, he said, but I was willing to try anything that might help my brain feel a little less foggy. The next day, Jake brewed his regular coffee, but this time he stirred in a spoonful of extra virgin coconut oil and a dash of ground cinnamon. No sugar, no cream, just that. He sat by the window, letting the morning light warm his face, and took slow, mindful sips. And something surprising happened. He didn't get that usual burst of nervous energy. No shakiness. No crash. Instead, he felt clear, calm, steady. It was like someone had quietly turned on the lights in his head. Gently, not all at once. It didn't slam me awake, he said. It invited me into the day. My thoughts were sharper, and I wasn't chasing them with a foggy mind. Since then, that's become Jake's morning ritual, not just a beverage, but an act of care. It feels like I'm feeding my brain, he told me, not forcing it to wake up. What Jake didn't realize at first was that he had stumbled into a small, brain-friendly upgrade backed by science. Coconut oil contains MCTs, medium-chain triglycerides, which the body can quickly convert into ketones, an alternative fuel source for the brain. Unlike glucose, which can spike and crash, ketones provide a more stable, sustained energy, especially helpful as we age and our brains become less efficient at using sugar. Cinnamon, meanwhile, has been studied for its anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties. Some research suggests it may help with memory, attention, and even protecting the brain from age-related decline. Together, these simple additions transform Jake's coffee from a quick jolt into something more. A gentle, brain-boosting elixir that started his day with intention, not just habit. And that's what this video is really about. Not just what you drink, but how you start your day. With awareness, with kindness, with a sense that you're doing something good for the part of you that thinks, remembers, solves, and dreams. So if your mornings have been feeling heavy, dull, or forgetful lately, try what Jake did. Try a small shift, not a big overhaul. Because sometimes the tiniest ingredients can make the biggest difference. In the next part, we'll meet Rose and the unusual warm drink she swears by every morning to stay mentally sharp and emotionally centered. But for now, I'll leave you with this. What's the first thing you give your brain each morning? And is it what your brain truly needs? For Rose, mornings used to feel rushed, even in retirement. She'd wake up thinking about everything at once. The doctor's appointment next week, the groceries she forgot yesterday, whether she remembered to call her friend back, and what she even came into the kitchen for. I'd stare at the toaster like it owed me an answer, she joked. I wasn't tired. I just couldn't think clearly. She wasn't alone. Many people over 60 describe mornings that feel mentally slippery. You reach for a name, a word, a task, and it slips just out of grasp. Rose tried everything. Less screen time, more sleep, crosswords, supplements. But nothing really made her feel grounded. Until one morning, while visiting her niece in Portland, she was handed a warm, creamy drink. It wasn't coffee. It wasn't tea. It was golden, gently spiced, and smelled like something from her grandmother's kitchen. "Try this," her niece said. "It's turmeric milk. We call it golden milk." Rose took a sip, then another, and in that moment, something surprising happened. She didn't just feel comforted, she felt calm, present, centered, like her thoughts weren't racing, but walking steadily beside her. She started making it for herself every morning. Almond milk warmed gently on the stove, a teaspoon of turmeric, a pinch of black pepper to help absorb, a dash of cinnamon, and a swirl of honey. Not a magic potion, not a miracle cure, just a ritual, one that made her feel like her brain was being held with care, not pushed into motion. Rose didn't think much about the ingredients at first. She just knew it made her feel better. But one day, while stirring her golden milk at the stove, she wondered, why does this help me so much? So she did a little research, and what she found made her smile. Turmeric, the golden root that gives the drink its color, has long been used in traditional medicine. But modern science is catching up. Its active compound, curcumin, is known for its powerful anti-inflammatory and antioxidant effects. These properties are especially helpful for the brain, where chronic inflammation has been linked to memory issues, brain fog, and even age-related cognitive decline. But curcumin doesn't work alone. Black pepper, added in just a pinch, contains piperine, which helps your body absorb curcumin more effectively, by up to 2,000%, in fact. Then there's cinnamon, which helps regulate blood sugar levels, reducing the energy crashes that can cloud your mind, and almond milk or oat milk, which provides a smooth, plant-based base without the heaviness of dairy. And finally, honey, not just for taste, but also for its gentle calming effects and antioxidants. Together, these ingredients create more than a drink. They create a moment where Rose sits quietly, hands around a warm mug, breathing slowly as the golden steam rises. No buzzing phone, no news, no expectations. Just one simple act of care, for her body, yes, but especially for her mind. "I don't feel like I'm chasing clarity anymore," she said. "I feel like I'm creating space for it." Rose's golden milk didn't fix everything. She still misplaced her reading glasses. She still forgot names now and then. But what changed was the feeling of her mornings. No longer chaotic. No longer rushed. Now they were intentional, even sacred. That one mug of warm, spiced milk became her way of saying, "I deserve gentleness. My mind deserves support. My day deserves a calm beginning." And that's the real magic of a morning drink. It's not just about what it does to your brain. It's about what it says to your soul. That you are still worth taking care of. That you can begin the day with presence, not pressure. That every morning is a chance to come home to yourself, one quiet sip at a time. So if coffee doesn't sit well with you, or if you're craving something smoother, try what Rose did. Not just the ingredients, but the moment, the pause, the warmth, the choosing of yourself. In the next part, we'll meet Howard and discover a simple citrus-based drink that might surprise you at how powerfully it wakes up the senses and sharpens the mind. But for now, just ask yourself, what if your best mornings don't begin with noise, but with nourishment? Howard, 69, used to reach for orange juice every morning, out of habit more than anything else. It was what he'd grown up with, a tall glass next to toast and eggs. But as he got older, he started noticing two things. First, he felt sluggish after breakfast. And second, his memory wasn't as sharp as it used to be. "I forget what I walked into a room for," he said, "or mix up my neighbor's name with my cousin's." It wasn't alarming, but it was frustrating. Howard didn't want another supplement. He didn't want a complicated routine. He just wanted something simple, fresh, and effective. Then one day, while talking to a friend who had recently started a brain-boosting morning ritual, he heard about something surprisingly simple: warm lemon water with a pinch of sea salt and a splash of fresh orange or grapefruit juice. That's it, Howard asked. His friend smiled. That's it. And trust me, it works better than you think. Skeptical but curious, Howard gave it a try. He squeezed half a lemon into a warm glass of water, added a splash of fresh orange juice, and stirred in a tiny pinch of sea salt. It wasn't sweet, but it wasn't bitter either. Just bright, clean, inviting. And within 15 minutes, something shifted. His eyes felt more open, his head less cloudy. He wasn't bouncing off the walls, but there was a steady clarity, like fog lifting over a lake at sunrise. I didn't expect it to work, he said, but it did, and not just once. Howard began making it every morning, even before his first bite of food. And over time, it became more than just a drink. It became a signal, a gentle way of telling his body and brain, let's begin, and let's begin well. What Howard didn't realize at first was that his morning glass was doing more than just quenching his thirst. It was quietly refreshing his brain on multiple levels. Lemon, for starters, is rich in vitamin C, a powerful antioxidant that helps reduce inflammation in the brain. Inflammation has been linked to brain fog, memory problems, and even mood swings as we age. By starting his day with a burst of vitamin C, Howard was giving his brain the tools it needed to stay sharp and protected. But lemon juice also stimulates the liver and digestive system, helping to flush out toxins that can build up overnight. That's not just good for your stomach. It's good for your brain. Why? Because when your body is less busy digesting junk, your mind becomes freer to focus. The pinch of sea salt plays a surprisingly important role, too. It replenishes essential electrolytes, like sodium and magnesium, that your brain needs to fire neurons, balance fluids, and maintain alertness. And as we age, hydration becomes more critical, especially first thing in the morning. Then there's a splash of fresh orange or grapefruit juice. Not enough to spike blood sugar, but just enough to offer natural sweetness and additional vitamin C, potassium, and flavonoids that support circulation and brain oxygenation. The result? A drink that's light, refreshing, and quietly powerful, giving your brain exactly what it needs to shake off sleep and step into clarity. Howard described it best. It's like rinsing out the cobwebs of the night. Not with caffeine, but with something that wakes me up from the inside. And unlike caffeine, it didn't make him jittery. It didn't spike and crash. It just worked, gently, consistently, and kindly. What Howard discovered was more than a drink. It was a moment, a small act of intention, a simple ritual that didn't demand anything from him. No energy, no multitasking, no performance. Just warm water, a squeeze of citrus, a quiet breath, and the sense that he was doing something good for himself. Not to fix anything, but to begin gently. There's a calm alertness that comes with it, he said. Not like coffee, which jolts you awake. This is like stepping out into cool morning air, refreshing but soft. And maybe that's what we're all really craving as we get older. Not just stimulation, but clarity. Not just more energy, but better energy. Not just to be awake, but to be fully present. The citrus-based morning drink reminded Howard, and now maybe you, that the best way to support your brain isn't always big or complicated. Sometimes it's as simple as starting your day hydrated, nourished, and gently awakened. So the next time you find yourself reaching for something quick to kickstart your brain, consider trying what Howard did, not because it's trendy, but because it works, and because you're worth a morning that feels clean, focused, and quietly powerful. In the next part, we'll explore how these drinks fit into a bigger picture. Not just what we sip, but how we live our mornings, and the hidden ways we might be sabotaging our brain's clarity without even realizing it. But until then, let this question stay with you. What if clarity isn't something we chase, but something we gently allow? By now, you've seen how powerful a simple drink can be. A cup of golden milk, a splash of citrus water, a reimagined coffee. These aren't trends. They're quiet tools, small but mighty. But here's the truth most people miss. Even the best drink in the world can't save your brain if your morning habits are working against it. Rose, for example, started every morning with her turmeric milk. It calmed her, soothed her, gave her a sense of clarity. But then She'd flip on the morning news. The volume loud. The headlines stressful. Back-to-back stories of loss, disaster, outrage. I felt more anxious after I finished my drink than before I started it, she said. Not because the drink stopped working, but because the noise swallowed the calm. Jake would finish his coconut oil coffee and immediately open his inbox, diving into emails, notifications, reminders, and long to-do lists. He called it getting ahead. But it left his mind cluttered before 8 a.m. And Howard, he sipped his citrus water mindfully and then skipped breakfast entirely, thinking he wasn't hungry. By mid-morning, his energy dropped and his focus fizzled out. Here's the point. Your drink sets the tone, but your actions after that, they shape the rest of your day. Because your brain isn't just a machine waiting for fuel. It's a living system, emotional, electrical, and incredibly sensitive to how you treat it. Give it clarity and then flood it with chaos? You cancel out the gift. Nourish it, but ignore its need for rhythm and rest? It slows down anyway. So if you're wondering, why don't I feel sharper even though I've changed my diet or morning routine? The answer might not be in your cup. It might be in what comes after. Let's go back to Rose. She had built such a beautiful ritual. Warm golden milk, soft morning light, 10 minutes of stillness. But then, almost like muscle memory, she would reach for the remote. News, weather, breaking headlines. Floods, politics, fear, rage. It became her background noise, like a soundtrack of stress she didn't even realize was playing. I didn't think it affected me, she said, but I'd feel tense by the time I finished breakfast, like my brain was already tired and the day hadn't even begun. And that's the thing, even low-level stress, especially first thing in the morning, has a disproportionate impact on the aging brain. When you're over 60, your cortisol regulation changes. Your nervous system becomes more reactive to stimulation, and your brain, which needs calm to integrate information and perform memory tasks, ends up stuck in defense mode. Rose didn't need more turmeric. She needed more protection from unnecessary noise, digital overload, and emotional whiplash. So she tried something radical. She kept the drink. She kept the window light. But she turned off the TV and replaced it with music. Classical, soft jazz, sometimes just ambient sound, rain, birdsong, wind. The first few days felt strange, she admitted, like something was missing. But by the end of the week, I felt lighter, more focused. I actually remembered what I read in the newspaper. What changed wasn't just the information she consumed. It was the tone she set for her mind. And here's the science behind that. Studies show that starting your morning with chaotic stimuli, like news alerts or stressful emails, increases cognitive load, draining your brain's processing power before it's even had a chance to boot up fully. By contrast, soft music or silence improves working memory, mood regulation, and neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to learn and adapt. Rose didn't cut out her world. She simply curated it. She realized that her brain, like her body, deserved to wake up slowly, gently, and in peace. There's a quiet kind of self-respect in guarding your peace. You brew something warm. You pour it with care. You sip it slowly. And in that moment, you're not just nourishing your body. You are setting the tone for your whole day. But what happens next matters just as much. Because your brain isn't a light switch. It's a garden. And what you plant in those first waking minutes, whether stress or stillness, noise or gentleness, will shape how you feel, think, and respond for hours to come. Rose discovered that. Jake did, too. And so have countless others who've made one powerful decision: to stop rushing the morning, to stop blasting their brain with information before it's ready, and to start giving themselves a buffer, a soft place to land before the world comes in. You don't have to meditate for an hour. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be mindful of the noise you allow in, of the pace you choose, of the energy you create. So as you take your morning drink tomorrow, ask yourself, what's the very next thing I do, and is it something my brain will thank me for? In the next part, we'll explore how hydration, one of the simplest acts of all, can deeply affect your brain's ability to focus, remember, and feel emotionally balanced. Because sometimes what your mind needs most is just a little more water. It doesn't come in a fancy bottle. It doesn't have a trendy name. You won't find influencers raving about it on social media. But if your brain could speak to you every morning, it would likely say just one thing: please give me water. After all the teas, lattes, juices, and tonics, it's easy to forget the simplest, most powerful drink of all: pure, clean water. And yet, for many people over 60, hydration is quietly missing from the routine. You wake up, you go straight to coffee, maybe some juice, maybe nothing at all. But your brain, it's been fasting all night, and it's thirsty. Jake once joked that he thought he was tired because he was old. Turns out, I was just dry, he laughed. He had been waking up foggy, sluggish, and irritable. He'd reached for caffeine, thinking that would help, but it only made things worse. Until one morning, after hearing a podcast from a neurologist, he decided to try something simple: one full glass of water, before anything else. Not cold, not flavored, just room temperature, filtered water. And within a few days, something changed. I didn't feel young again, Jake said, but I did feel clearer, like my brain wasn't swimming through molasses. It wasn't magic. It was biology. You see, the human brain is nearly 75% water, and even mild dehydration, as little as 1 to 2%, can reduce focus, impair memory, and increase anxiety. As we age, our natural sense of thirst dulls. We think we're fine, but inside, our brain is signaling, slowly and quietly, that it's working harder than it should. Howard, too, started adding water to his morning routine. Before his citrus blend, just one tall glass. No excuses. And it made a difference he didn't expect. Fewer headaches, less irritability, better word recall during his morning phone calls. It's not a secret. It's just something we forget. But the older we get, the more essential it becomes. We tend to think of hydration as something physical, for energy, for muscles, for digestion. But the brain, it runs on water more than anything else. Every electrical signal, every thought, every memory pulled up in a conversation, every name you try to remember, every number you try to recall, all of it depends on fluid balance in your brain cells. Without enough water, neurons can't fire properly. Messages slow down. Mental fog sets in. And for older adults, that delay can feel like forgetting or even like something's wrong, when in fact, it's just dehydration. There's a reason hospitals often check hydration levels in seniors first when they show signs of confusion or memory loss. Because water isn't just about function, it's about clarity. And it's not just your brain that suffers. Mood is one of the first things to shift when you're dehydrated. You feel more irritable, anxious, impatient. You're less likely to handle stress calmly. You might snap at someone, not because you're upset, but because your brain is parched. In one study, older adults who drank just one extra glass of water in the morning reported better concentration, steadier emotions, and fewer senior moments throughout the day. And here's something even more fascinating. Water helps improve the flow of nutrients to the brain. It supports blood circulation. It flushes out toxins that accumulate overnight, byproducts of mental activity and cellular repair. Think of it like rinsing the windshield before you drive. The car still works, but now you can see where you're going. Jake said, "The day I made water my first drink, I stopped feeling like I was behind all the time. I could actually keep up with my own thoughts." There's something deeply human about starting your day with a glass of water. It's not flashy, it's not trendy, but it's one of the purest acts of self-respect you can give your brain. Because what you're really saying is this: before I do anything, before I check a phone, fix breakfast, or take care of others, I will care for my own clarity. You're honoring the part of you that thinks, remembers, makes decisions, and carries the stories of a lifetime. You're giving it what it needs to start the day, not in panic, but in presence. Howard said it best: water doesn't change who I am, but it helps me show up as the best version of me, clearer, kinder, and more aware. It's easy to forget. It's easy to think, I'll get to it later. But the older we get, the more those small decisions, the ones no one sees, shape how we feel, think, and connect. So tomorrow morning, before the coffee, before the golden milk, before the to-do list, pause, pour, and drink. It may not seem like much, but to your brain, it's everything. And in the next part, we'll explore how to combine these simple drinks into a morning rhythm, one that doesn't overwhelm, but builds gently, supporting your brain in layers, like sunrise breaking over a quiet sky. Because your mornings aren't just a beginning, they're a message. And with the right sips, you can say to yourself, I'm here, I'm ready, and I'm taking care of me. Most of us were never taught how to design our mornings. We wake up, we move fast. Caffeine, news, texts, noise. We rush from silence to stimulation in under 5 minutes. And the brain, especially after 60, doesn't like to be rushed. It prefers rhythm, warmth, time. So what happens when we slow down, even just a little? What happens when we treat our morning like a song, not a sprint? Rose discovered it first. She started with water, just one glass. As soon as she got up, she didn't drink it at the kitchen counter. She sat. She looked out the window. Let her breath catch up to her body. Then came her golden milk. Warm, quiet, no TV. Sometimes music. Sometimes birdsong. She sipped slowly, letting it feel like a soft exhale, a way to nourish her mind before asking to do anything. It wasn't about routine. It was about respect, giving her brain the right ingredients in the right order. Jake, on the other hand, had a different rhythm. He started with water, then his coconut oil coffee. But now, paired with a few almonds and a banana to avoid the mid-morning crash. No screens during his first cup, just his notebook and a short list. One thing he was grateful for. One thing he was excited about. One thing he wanted to remember. Howard mixed it up. Water, then citrus water. Later, mid-morning, a cup of green tea. Not for the caffeine, but for the calm focus it brought. He called it my 3 sips of sanity. None of them followed a strict plan. They just listened to their brain and gave it what it asked for. And the results? Less fog, more clarity, fewer moments of, why did I come in here? And more moments of, now I remember. Not every morning feels the same. Some days, you wake up foggy, like your thoughts are underwater. Other days, you wake up anxious. Your heart's ahead of your head. And sometimes you feel fine, but you want to feel better. That's why no single drink is the answer. Because your brain speaks a different language each day, and it's your job to listen. If your mind feels heavy and sluggish, start with water to rehydrate your brain, restore balance, and prepare your neurons to fire again. Then consider a lemon citrus blend to bring brightness, oxygen flow, and mental sharpness. That's what Howard swears by. If I feel like I'm running late mentally, that citrus kick clears the runway. If your mind feels restless or scattered, golden milk may be your friend. The turmeric calms inflammation. The cinnamon stabilizes blood sugar. The warm milk settles the nervous system, like a hug from the inside. Rose drinks hers on mornings when she feels overwhelmed before the day even begins. It smooths out the noise, she said. It reminds me to slow down. If you need focus and sustained energy, Jake's coconut oil coffee might be right, especially when paired with light food to avoid a crash. The healthy fats fuel the brain. The coffee sharpens the lens. But it only works well when the body is supported. No more empty stomach sprints. Jake jokes. I give my brain fuel and footing now. And for those who want something lighter later in the morning, herbal teas, green tea, or even a second glass of water with a hint of mint or cucumber can refresh your thoughts without overwhelming your senses. The point isn't to follow a rule. The point is to learn your rhythm. Some brains need calming. Some need activating. Most need both, but at the right time, in the right way. It's not about perfection. It's about listening with kindness. Imagine if every morning felt like a gentle invitation, not a demand. Not hurry up, not get going, but something softer. Something more like, welcome back. I've been waiting for you. That's what these small rituals become over time. A glass of water, a warm golden cup, a bright citrus blend, a mindful moment with your coffee. They may seem ordinary, But when practiced with care, they become a kind of daily devotion, a way of saying, you matter, your mind matters, and you don't need to earn this nourishment. It's easy to think that we have to do something big to protect our brains. But the truth is, the brain responds best to consistency, rhythm, and respect. These drinks, they aren't magic. They're reminders that you can still begin again, that you can create clarity, that even after 60, you're still the author of your morning. And in a world that often pulls your attention in every direction, these simple sips can anchor you. Rose once said, I used to wake up bracing for the day. Now I wake up building it. That shift from bracing to building changes everything. So as you choose your morning drink tomorrow, don't just ask, what do I feel like having? Ask, what does my brain need from me today? And then listen, sip slowly, start again, because the most powerful routines aren't the ones that are perfect. They're the ones that are yours. In the next part, we'll explore how these small rituals, when practiced over time, become more than just habits. They become emotional anchors, soft spaces your brain returns to again and again for clarity, comfort, and connection. Because sometimes the most healing part of a drink is the memory that comes with it. Over time, the drinks we make each morning stop being just drinks. They become rituals. And then, without us realizing it, they become memories, not the kind stored in photos, but the kind etched quietly into the rhythm of our lives. The smell of cinnamon, the clink of a spoon, the warmth of a cup against your palms. Howard didn't think much of his citrus water at first, but after a few months, he realized something strange. On days he skipped it, something felt off. His mind didn't feel grounded. His body felt a little heavier. And, most of all, something inside him missed a pause. It wasn't just about the drink, he said. It was about what it meant. It was a moment that belonged to me. And that's the beauty of repetition done with care. It creates meaning, and the brain loves meaning. In fact, neuroscience shows that repeated positive routines create stronger neural pathways, not just for habit, but for emotional security. These familiar moments become touchstones that help us feel anchored, especially during times of stress, loss, or change. Jake noticed it, too. After his wife passed, his morning coffee ritual became more than caffeine. It became memory. The act of grinding beans, stirring in coconut oil, sitting by the same window where they used to read the paper. I didn't want to do anything most mornings, he said. But making that coffee, it reminded me I was still here, still choosing to start the day. We often think memory is something we lose over time, but in truth, we build it day by day through the tiny things we repeat. And for the aging brain, those repetitions are powerful. They tell the brain, you are safe. They say, this moment is familiar. You belong here. Rose had always been the strong one in her family, the planner, the doer, the glue. But after she moved into a smaller home, one with fewer rooms, fewer footsteps, and far fewer responsibilities, the silence started to feel unfamiliar. At first, she welcomed the quiet. Then it started to echo. I missed noise I used to complain about, she laughed softly. I missed hearing my name. She tried filling her mornings with TV, puzzles, long to-do lists. But nothing felt steady. Everything was noise without meaning. Until one morning, she returned to something old, her golden milk, the way her grandmother used to stir warm milk at the stove, the smell of turmeric and cinnamon, the slow ritual of sitting, hands around the mug, feet tucked beneath a blanket. And just like that, something softened. It wasn't nostalgia. It was belonging. Her brain remembered, not in words, but in feeling, that she was safe, that she was known. That morning could still feel like home. Rose didn't realize it then, but her brain was doing something beautiful. It was building emotional memory through routine. You see, the aging brain craves familiarity, not because it's afraid of change, but because it finds stability in the known. And when that routine is wrapped in warmth, intention, and care, it becomes more than a habit. It becomes a place. A small corner of the day that stays the same, no matter what else shifts. A place where the mind can rest, refocus, and remember that it is still capable of joy. We often think of routines as boring, ordinary, repetitive, but the truth is, for the aging brain and for the heart that's lived many seasons, routine is medicine. Not because it keeps things predictable, but because it reminds you of who you are. A morning drink can become a memory, a rhythm, a small but sacred moment where you are not a role, not a caregiver, not a patient, not someone being kept busy. You're simply you. Jake once said something quietly powerful. I don't make my morning coffee because I need it. I make it because it reminds me I'm still choosing my day. That's what rituals do. They anchor us. They carry our scent, our rhythm, our story. And when we give ourselves that, especially in a world that constantly asks us to adjust, to keep up, to remember more than we can, we create something priceless, a place in the day that remembers us, even when memory feels fragile. So, if you've been feeling lost in your mornings, start small. Pick one drink, one space, 1 minute, then come back to it again and again, not because you should, but because you can. And in that returning, your brain will begin to recognize something steady, something kind, something true. In the next and final part, we'll take a gentle step back to see the full picture of this journey, to remember why these drinks, these moments, and these quiet choices matter more than we ever thought. Because after all, it was never just about what you drank. It was about what you gave yourself with every sip. So here we are, 8 parts, countless sips, and one quiet truth. The way you begin your morning shapes the way your mind meets the day. It's not about perfection. It's not about routines that look good on paper. It's about connection. Connection to your body, to your memory, to your breath, to the parts of you that still long to feel clear, calm, and cared for. Maybe your morning begins with a glass of water. Maybe it's golden milk by the window. Maybe it's coffee stirred with coconut oil. Maybe it's none of these. Maybe it's a warm tea passed down from your childhood. Whatever it is, let it be yours. Let it be kind. Let it be chosen. Let it remind you that this day, this brain, this life is still worth showing up for. Because even if memory fades, even if names slip and thoughts wander, there's power in presence. There's strength in softness. And there is magic in choosing yourself every single morning. Jake still makes his coffee. Rose still stirs her turmeric milk. Howard still slices lemon with care. Not because someone told them to, but because each cup says, I'm here. I'm starting again. And I remember what matters. So now I turn to you. What's one small thing you'll do tomorrow to honor your beautiful, capable, deserving mind? Have you found a drink or a moment that helps you feel more like yourself in the morning? Share in the comments. I'd love to hear your story. If this journey has helped you feel seen, cared for, or simply a little more inspired, tap that like button. And if you want more heart-centered conversations just like this one, don't forget to subscribe. It means the world to me and helps me keep sharing more. Here's to mornings that heal us. Here's to clarity, kindness, and cups filled with care. And here's to you, exactly as you are,